someone asked me the other day, they go, Bo, man, you're so busy. Like, you travel a lot and you got 3 kids and a family and you coach and you train and you speak. And how do you have time to write a book? And how do you clear the space, both emotionally and physically, to be able to bring a book into existence? And I'm like, you know what? That's a great question. I had to retrace my steps to kind of figure out what I actually did. And the first thing I do when I'm bringing something into creation is the creation is large, like behind me. This is the wall where I created the chapters of the book initially. And there was a ton of them, and I was just writing stuff, and I was just attacking these papers behind me on the wall. And I did that for a few months until the ideas became solidified and became a part of my body. Then I just started speaking it. Whether I was working out on a stationary bike or going for a run on the beach or a hike, I'm speaking these chapters. I'm speaking the dialogue so that physically it's internalized by me. And eventually I start talking to people. I often made my assistant get on the phone with me every week, and I'd talk the book. I would say the words to the book over and over and over again, because I'm just not great at sitting at a computer and writing. I write longhand. It starts off big like this behind us. It starts to get smaller and smaller and smaller until I say it out loud. Somebody then records it. Then they dictate it. They write it out. I get it back, and then I go to the writing. So that has been my process. And here's another thing that really helped. The publisher gave us a deadline, and our deadline was quick. I mean, that book had to turn around quick. And normally I would like to have more time, but they said, look, this has got to be due at such and such a date, which was like 3 or 4 months into the future. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's amazing when you give yourself a deadline, or when a deadline is thrust upon you, how you get to work, because you have this contract in place. There's money in place. Think about that when you're carving out time. Think about a contract. Think about an agreement with some other person that you have to come through at a certain date. Do that. And also, when you're going through the process of the creativity, think big at first, big and largesse, like behind me. Then think of bringing it down slowly, 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 and internalizing this thing until you can actually verbalize it to another person or to an audience. Then you get the deadline in place, bam, you knock it out, and all of a sudden, you have a piece of magic that didn't exist before that now exists, which now we're talking about a book, right? But all those thoughts and all that emotion and all those years of life and pain and happiness, all internalized inside of you. That's how you bring these creative endeavors into existence. And then add that deadline to it, and bam, you knock it out quick. Try that. Here's what I want you to do next. I want you to go over to boeason.com, and I want you to download my free storytelling guide. And in there are all kinds of exercises to get you up on your feet, start developing and telling your story. You're also going to be the first to find out when a new video comes out, because the hardest thing about being the best and continuing to be the best is you have to be reminded of what is current. So you're going to be the first to know. We're going to keep you accountable. Go over to boeason.com. Continue to be the best.